Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is IJ and this is my channel Tell IJ, where you can share your story, your ideas, your comments, and wherever you're watching from in the world, please do not forget to subscribe to support my channel. Hit the like button so this video goes to more people, and by all means please share with your friends and family. Now for today, what we will talk about, as I am a parent myself, I want to talk briefly about children and mobile phones. I know this is an issue many parents, especially young parents, have to face on a daily basis. And sometimes the question comes, when is the appropriate time to let your child have a mobile phone? Well, I cannot speak for everyone, but I'm here just simply because I want to hopefully share my own experience as a mother of three, my eldest being almost 27 in less than 2 weeks from now, and my second 25, and the last one 17. I thought I might just talk about children and mobile phones, because as I happen to have stumbled across several topics and clips from various social media platforms, but currently apparently trending is some kind of story about a young Nigerian 10-year-old girl, and it so happens, without diving too much into it, because this channel, like I always say, is for literally anyone, anywhere in the world. I pick up different topics and different comments on various social media platforms or news. And so this was apparently to do with a 10-year-old girl somewhere in Nigeria who in the expensive boarding school, private school, apparently it was rumored that she had been probably allegedly, let's say, mishandled. One has to be very careful with what's on YouTube. And so sooner than you know it, there seem to be more platforms carrying topics about the same young girl. Apparently, she allegedly had already been involved, unbeknown to the parents or schools or teachers, to some kind of CD, a channel or something, somewhere platform, where she was dancing provocatively or whatever you may have it. That's to do currently trending with Nigeria. But having said that, mobile phone issue is not peculiar to one country. We in the UK or United States or all over the world, it's always been an issue. I remember back then in the 90s, I'm talking about, my kids were still growing, and all the various political and non-political debates that followed the use of mobile phones by children. One cannot say one way or the other, but I do know as a parent that it becomes increasingly a tug of war. It becomes increasingly a lot of pressure for a lot of parents all over the world to know what to do with your children, to know when is the right time. And the only answer I can give to that question is every child is different. Generally, kids are generally the same. But whatever the issue or whatever the individuality, I know as a parent it's easier said than done. I've been through it, and I hope if you're a parent or a parent to be watching this, somehow you might pick up a bit of courage. It wasn't easy, but I also want to say that it ultimately would lie in you, the parent, the guardian, I wouldn't say it's easy. Nobody, anyone who's ever disciplined, and when I say discipline, I don't always mean harsh treatment. Discipline in the way of how we raise our children and what society is constantly putting in our faces as parents. It can make it very challenging. I know, like I said, my elders are, already, they are all professional people working, living on their own. But I remember when they were growing up, it was always a battle between what their friends, they feel their friends were doing, and what I, or we, my husband and I, should have let them do. However, I've always been a great believer, and I often say sometimes you cannot even shake off the person you are. And it takes a lot of guts, it takes a lot of strength, mentally and physically, to be an adult in our modern society. A society where the media is often encouraging and telling us what we are expected as parents to do, where the government is often laying a one rule for all kind of situation. A situation where your child goes to school, goes to social gatherings, what have you, and still has to mingle with other children or other young adults who may not necessarily be doing what you might condone as a parent. So those were the challenges I faced, and I know many of you watching this today, be you a mother, father, uncle, auntie, what have you, a guardian, a foster parent, you are probably facing the same issue with your young adults or young child and mobile phones. So it goes back again, when is the right time? I speak from my own experience, the right time to let your child have a mobile phone. I say this, it cannot be one answer for all. But what I want to say is, first of all, depending on your lifestyle, or when I say lifestyle, if you're a parent, you might be a single parent, you might be, two parents who have to work way away from home. I can understand the need for a mobile phone. But then we also come across a lot of children and a lot of parents where it is almost not necessary to own a mobile phone. But due to pressure from the young people, you fall into it. And I want to encourage you as a parent. Again, I speak from experience. I'm not trying to tell you to do what I have not tried. Is to try and be a bit firmer. If your child must have a mobile phone, try, if in my own ideal world, I would say at least let them hit 17, 18. But I know that's not feasible. Even when you might be a parent who often you're there to look after your child, there comes a time when sometimes they need to have a mobile phone. But when they need to have a mobile phone, if you can, it's not impossible to find ways of restricting some of there are lots of features these days in mobile phones. Look and research it, and you will see there are ways you can actually stop your child, especially young children, going into all these horrible, unnecessary channels or platforms. I remember, like I said, as time went on from the 90s, at least in the UK, in the 90s, I would say mid-90s, late 90s, was when mobile phones for children became more and more rampant. Then, of course, the issue was a lot of political debate about the effect of radiation in the brain and how it might affect young people. Nobody knows exactly what effect, if any. But what I always remember with my two oldest ones, and this is a tip for you, a parent there, try, if your child must have a mobile phone, one, obviously, keep it under your contract. So that way, I'm not saying it's easy. I personally didn't have the energy or time to be monitoring anything, but at least that way you are able to find features that may allow you limit them, browsing into just any old internet platform and that sort of thing. But by all means, bring a rule into your home, especially when the kids are young. If you start it off young, it's easier to monitor as they grow older. When they are going to bed, make them switch it off and give them a dedicated place in your home. Mine used to be the kitchen drawer. Leave it there, because I found even when I tried, you may genuinely mean to, yes, they are young adults, but the truth is that despite what everybody talks about, their own brains think differently. They handle things differently. And so you find it's quite common. A lot of kids, rather than be asleep, they're in their bedrooms, twiddling and going through phones, and you don't want that. So you need to find a way, make it a pattern. If they're going to school, of course, pick up your phones, obey the rules at school, and when you come back home, switch off your phone. And those times like weekends or some evenings, maybe for a couple of hours, you want to talk to your friends, fine. But after so hours, switch it off. Because what you find is they don't do that. You could find your child leaving at 12 midnight, 1 a.m., talking on the phone. Then you wonder why they go to school, they're tired, they cannot concentrate. But apart from that aspect, what worries a lot of parents, and that worried me too, is the danger of that young person stumbling across some distasteful, platforms online, which often is outside our control. Again, start with laying a rule as to when and what times they are able to use those phones. And occasionally, do check and make sure that they are not going outside the sort of internet platforms where they should be going. Okay? And if you can, I say, delay giving your child a mobile phone for as long as you can. I know there's a lot of pressure. It comes from their friends, then they bring that pressure home. But again, like I said before, from my experience, I'm not saying it was easy. Learn to stand your ground as a parent in a nice way. Let them know, especially if your child, for example, my 17-year-old goes to college, okay? I mean, most times there's hardly any reason why he would necessarily need his mobile phone, but he's got one. But, at the end of the day, in that kind of situation, I'm lucky. I work all over the place. I've got my home office, and I'm not like a typical parent, maybe 9 to 5, where you probably need your child to communicate to know where they are. That's fine. Still lay down a rule when they're home. Certain times, turn it off, put it away. So that way, they can be able to join in the family activities. But most important, going back to why I mentioned my own 17-year-old, is the fact that he uses his phone to go to college. Of course, we drop him off. You might argue he doesn't necessarily need it. Yes, he doesn't. But the phone is also there for him to be able to get in touch with us in case of an emergency. He's able to use his phone. But I also believe, because of the way he had seen the pattern we used with his 2 previous siblings, in a nice way, not harshly, he understands, and we talk to him often about the essence of having self-control, how you use your phone. You don't end up letting your phone control you. You see a lot of people, young and old, and even to my dismay, sometimes you see young moms, I'm not saying young moms, even any moms really, but I find it frustrating sometimes when you see a young parent, it could be a mom or dad or both, rather than pushing your baby and at least having a nice little talk to the baby, they have their faces right into their phone. You see some people, someone is talking to you, or you go to a restaurant, two people are sitting there. Rather than have a face-to-face conversation, they are both busy with their faces buried into their phone. And that is when your phone is taking over your life. You don't want that. And so I personally believe that if you start to lay some ground rules when your kids are younger, even if they're 8, 9 and they're pushing, mommy, 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 daddy, 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 I want a phone, I want a phone. Find a nice way to let them know why they don't need a phone. And if they must, use an old phone. There's nothing wrong with that. We all have to begin to teach our children some financial grounding. They don't have to always behave the way everybody else does. And just because everybody else does something does not make it necessarily right. So start with some ground rules. And if they must have that phone, make sure they know where and what not to do. And you yourself as a parent, there are some gadgets and things and apps you can put in your child's phone today to make sure that they do not, like that 10-year-old that Nigerian girl that's trending, apparently, with videos of her everywhere on social media, that your child is not embarrassing herself or himself or your family and posting things they shouldn't post. Because, you see, unless we start as parents and begin to lay some ground rules, and you as a parent continue to fall under the pressure of society, I know it's not easy, but we have to try our best to uphold certain level of discipline, certain level of integrity, and impart that into our children. Then you, as well as a parent, may fall foul of this whole internet and dark possibility of it could be anybody's child. I say God forbid. So please, the best time to let your child have a phone is prolong it as long as possible. Every situation is different. Every country is different. If you're not always at home, I understand, but even without, lay some ground rules. When everyone is home or certain times in the evenings, make them switch off their phone and put it away and be a part of what is going on in that family. Do not allow your children or even your husband, your spouse, your partner, whoever, use phones at the dining table. That is a no-no. If someone at home is talking to you and you're a young person watching this or an older person watching this, please put your phone aside. It's actually very rude. It's a complete lack of etiquette. With some people, you know, I suppose if it suits many, they don't say anything, but it's not nice. It would be almost like someone having a newspaper in front of them while someone is talking and they're telling you, oh yeah, I'm hearing you, I'm hearing you. That is not nice, okay? And often, if you're at home or in a room with your family or friends or people you claim to love, give those people the attention they need. Don't worry about your social media or people who are somewhere you're tapping on an app on your phone. That is not nice and that is not cool. So on this note, I just want to encourage you, if you're a parent watching this, I know it's a challenge. Try to practice it if it's not too late. Allow your child a mobile phone as much as possible. If possible, go for the basics as much as you can. But lay the rules with them and let them know that sometimes mommy or daddy might check where you're watching. So that way, even if you don't have time to check, it puts it on their mind to know that somebody is there to discipline them. That's what I'm looking for. Okay? Don't just let your child go haywire, do what they like, and have no say over the phone. The sooner you start with that discipline, just like any other aspect of raising a child, the better for you all in that family. Have some ground rules, not one rule for the adults and one rule for the children. And if you do it that way, trust me, the child themselves, as they grow up, I'm speaking from experience of my elders and my 17-year-old. I'm not saying they're perfect, but what I'm saying is I'm glad at least even they themselves recognize it, not being addicted or a slave to your phone. It's okay sometimes just to switch off your phone and leave it and live in the real time, in the real world. But that starts with us as parents. When they see us do what we preach, they learn. And when we start it earlier, teaching them discipline of using a phone, and it's okay occasionally, every day, find a time to switch it off and put it away. They will get used to it. It will not be any force. And even if there's a force, I know some kids can be challenging. Stand strong as a parent. It's your job to lay down the rule. It's your home. It's your duty to them. It's your responsibility as a parent, because sometimes as parents and our relationship with our children, yes, we know our children have their own rights, but let's be honest. Contrary to what everybody likes to paint in the media, often our children, depending on the age, don't always know what is best for them. And that's where we, as parents or guardians or foster parents, step in. Don't sit back and get lazy. Discipline your child and say, oh, let him or her do what they like. It's all right if you're not harming anyone. Harm doesn't always come physically. The best equipment you can give your child is to be socially sensitive, is to be emotionally sensitive, is to be able to understand their environment and read the room. So be a parent, be a friend, but don't isolate yourself from what is going on in your child's phone. On this note, thank you again for stopping by. If you have any better idea of something I would have or you would have liked me to mention, please, by all means, make a comment, drop a comment for me, and share this video with your friends and family. And if you have any story to share, by all means, please send in your story. I promise your name will not be shared. We are all just here to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Thank you again. Please subscribe, share, and hit the like button. And thank you so much for stopping by. Until next time, see you. Bye-bye.